the formal meeting. There we go.
We're live.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the Public Health and Minority Health Disparities Subcommittee. I'm Delegate Heather Bagnall, acting chair of the subcommittee. We have 4 bills that we're going to consider today. I want to be very conscientious of time to make sure that we get everyone out with about 20 minutes for lunch. So it is 11:50 now. We're going to start with House Bill 53, Human Services Maryland Statewide Independent Living Council. This is a bill that we heard in subcommittee last week, but there were some amendments that we needed to consider. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Erin Hopwood, counsel, to talk about the bill and the amendments.
So the bill codifies the Maryland Statewide Independent Living Council as an instrumentality of the state. There has been a reprint provided to you with amendments that are being offered by the bill sponsor, Delegate Forbes. The amendments last week that were discussed added definition of centers for independent living and clarified that the designated state entity has the responsibility for providing administrative support and disbursement of funds to the council to carry out the state plan. The difference is in the amendments this week are that the references to a board of directors have been struck. So all of the duties that were previously in the bill under the board of directors would be assumed by the council.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone who wants to be heard on this bill and the amendments? Delegate Forbes, I believe you're here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm only here just in case people had questions.
Madam Chairman, I move the amendments so that we can have discussion.
The amendments have been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the amendments? Seeing no hands raised, the amendments have been moved and seconded. All in favor of adopting the amendments, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Do I have a motion on the bill?
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Bill has been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? All right, all in favor of House Bill 53 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Raise your hands. Give me a moment. Excellent. Well done, Delegate Forbes, and thank you very much. And thank you to Erin Hopwood for walking us through. We're now going to turn to House Bill 321, Cigarette Restitution Fund Payments for Sale and Marketing of Electronic Smoking Devices. There is no cross-file for this bill. There was also no opposition. Erin Hopwood, if you would talk us through the bill.
So the bill requires the Cigarette Restitution Fund to include a separate account consisting of payments received by the state as a result of litigation related to the sale and marketing of electronic smoking devices. Distributions from the separate account may only be used to supplement general fund appropriations for specified programs that aim to reduce the use of tobacco products by individuals younger than 21. There are amendments that have been offered by the bill sponsor, Delegate Rosenberg, that were at the request of the Office of the Attorney General. There is a reprint of the amendments that were provided to you. If you look on page 3 of the bill, the amendments would broaden the enforcement actions from which the payments can be received, and they clarify that distributions must be consistent with other provisions of state law related to the Cigarette Restitution Fund.
Excellent. Delegate Rosenberg.
Yes, these amendments are fine with me. They just provide for a future settlement because the bill was introduced because of the impending settlement with Juul, Juul. So I'm fine with the amendments and the bill is amended. Would move the amendments if that's appropriate.
Second.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? And all in favor of the amendment, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Go ahead and raise your hand. Do we have a motion on the bill as amended?
So moved.
And we have a second?
I'll second.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bill as amended has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of House Bill 321 as amended, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you so much. We are moving along. All right, we're going to move to House Bill 418, Mental Health Workforce Development Fund established. Ms. Hopwood, if you could walk us through the bill and the amendments.
The bill establishes the Behavioral Health Workforce Investment Fund to provide reimbursement for costs associated with educating, training, certifying, recruiting, placing, and retaining behavioral health professionals and paraprofessionals. The Maryland Healthcare Commission, in coordination with certain stakeholders, is required to conduct a comprehensive behavioral health workforce needs assessment, and the assessment would recommend an initial allocation to the fund and identify which programs the allocation will support. There are two amendments that are being offered on the bill, both by Delegate Bagnall. The first amendment would add to the stakeholders to be consulted by the Healthcare Commission in conducting the needs assessment to include the Maryland Department of Labor, the Career and Technical Education Committee. And the other amendment would push back the submission date for the needs assessment from December 1st, 2023 to October 1st, 2024.
Ms. Hopwood, do we need to vote on these amendments separately?
I think you could move one amendment, discuss, vote. You can do them separate. I would
Let's move the first amendment.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
So this is the amendment to add to the stakeholders, the Maryland Department of Labor, the Career and Technical Education Committee. Any discussion on these amendments, on this amendment? And just to clarify, this amendment conforms to an amendment that was offered in the Senate. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. All in favor of this amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
With the second amendment. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. Thank you, Delegate Hill. So the second amendment has been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. And this is the amendment to move back the date. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the second amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, do we have a motion on the bill as amended?
Bill is amended.
Second.
Second.
Bill has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No one wants to be heard on this. I love it. We're moving along. All right. All in favor of House Bill 418, Mental Health Workforce Development Fund established as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Go ahead and raise your hand. And Delegate Hutchinson, I know you weren't here for the first two bills. So if you have any concerns, let's make sure that we record you accordingly. But House Bill 418, we have no opposition. So we're going to move to the final bill. We might get you out in time for our exciting chicken day. House Bill 470, Environment Firefighting Training Oriented Strand Board Prohibition. Ms. Hopwood, if you could talk us through the bill, and there are no amendments on this bill. The Senate crossfile already passed. Triple E, and if you want to talk us through anything that I have left out.
Well, it is identical to the bill as it passed this committee last year. The bill prohibits a person from setting oriented strand board on fire or burning oriented strand board for firefighting training purposes. A person who violates the prohibition is subject to a civil penalty of up to $500 for the first violation and up to $1,000 for a second and subsequent violation. The bill does not apply to the manufacture, sale, use, or distribution of products or materials that contain oriented strand board for purposes outside of firefighting training purposes.
Do we have a motion on the bill? There are no
Move the
amendments.
bill.
The bill. Second.
The bill has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of House Bill 470, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. All right, team, thank you so much. Thank you for making my first full foray, so smooth and easy and well done. I'm very excited that we've got 4 bills out and I've got you out in time for lunch. If there are no concerns, we are going to adjourn, and thank you all so much.
Do we have to move to adjourn?
Let's move to adjourn. Let's make it official. Do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. We are moved and seconded. We are adjourned. Enjoy your lunch.